No mai e te iwi to the first ever podcast totally devoted to the world of haka. I'm your host 𝙃𝘼𝙆𝘼, tutor, composer, and 𝙃𝘼𝙁𝙁𝘀 o ngā tūmanako. In this episode, I'll be yarning to my whanaunga, Otene Hopa, tutor, composer, and 𝙃𝘼𝙁𝙁𝘀 of Kapa Haka. We'll be talking about his experiences, mentors, and vision for the future of haka. Haka Life Podcast. Let's go! Kei taku rangatira, kei te whanaunga. Tēnā koe. Nō reira, kia tīmata pēnei ngā kōrero. Tēnā, kōrero mai. Ko wai koe, no whea koe.
Ko te aranga o Otene Hopa ahau. He uri no tai tokerau. He ngāpuhi, he Ngāti whātua, he waikato. He koe au aku kārangaranga tanga iwi. Engari, he tamaiti hau no te tai tokerau. Me pērā pēr ngā kōrero.
Kia tīmata tāua i o mahara tuatahi mō te haka i a koe tipu mai ana.
I a koe ka pātai, taua pātai, I think about the waiata pūrere hua, rere runga hau, is one of the first waiata that I can remember knowing. And that was with Te Huinga Waka juniors, with Uncle Muriwai and Auntie Venus, over there in Sydney. And so my first foray into Kapa Haka was with a Kapa Haka team based in Australia.
Wow.
And koira waku mātua i tūhei mema mo taua kapa. And yeah, so every Sunday, our kind of family tradition was to get in the car and drive and go to Kapa Haka. And yeah, so that's kind of set the foundations for what has been my life.
Yes.
And being part of the Te Huinga Waka whānau and growing up in a Kapa Haka, that I think about it now, it wasn't until I was an adult that I realised that I wasn't actually blood related to any of these people, but called them auntie,
Yes.
uncle, and then all the kids that were there were my cousins.
Yeah.
And so I think about that, and they're all good times.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and Kapa Haka, learning waiata, tai rua toru wha, setting the foundations for my knowledge of what would become my knowledge of te reo Māori.
Yeah. Growing up in Ahitereiria,
Yeah.
Your connection to home was through Kapa Haka and the whānau that it creates, I suppose, because you spend so much time with these people, you do think they are your aunties, especially when you're growing up.
Yeah.
My kids at our practices, katoa ngā pakeke kei reira he mātua, kia rāua, kia tamariki. But it's a powerful vehicle for maintaining your culture and language. And Huinga Waka was an amazing kaupapa over there.
Absolutely.
And tell us about the amazing things that our papa Muriwai.
Yeah, so it's probably not until I've become an adult where I realised what he was doing.
Yes.
And if that's one of the kind of things I keep going. If you have a look at all the top teams across Aotearoa, there's a Te Huinga Waka person in there.
You got fight.
You know, and for me, Uncle Muriwai and Auntie Venus were a big part, have a big part to play in that, because what they were doing was planting seeds within these tamariki that were born in Australia, you know, to actually have a love for not only Kapa Haka, but for their culture, for their identity. And so we fast forward 30 plus years. We won't count. But I think back and I look at all the people that have been influenced by Uncle Muriwai and Auntie Venus, and I realise that they were building another generation of proud Māori people and people who love Kapa Haka. You know, I was part of the Haka freak community. I knew every song, every action, and all the words, all those kind of stuff, knew all the moves. But those were all things that we were taught and exposed to as tamariki, even in Poihakena.
Pai. Ka tai te wā, ka huri ngā whakaro, te hoki mai ki Aotearoa nei.
Yeah, so te tau iwa te kaumātahi, ka mate taku pāpā. So I muri mai I tēnā. After that, our mum thought that actually it's time to bring us home. More to be closer with her people. And, I can still remember the day going to the airport and the whānau were all there. And I was thinking, why are we leaving this?
Yeah,
because that's in my 6-year-old kind of brain, this is our world. This is what our world was. And so, ka hoki mai, ka whakahoki mai, aia, mātou ko toku tuakana, me toku tuahine, ki te kāinga, ka noho mai ki tāmaki.
Tēnā koe.
And Uncle Muriwai had said to Mum, when you go home, go to Te Wakahuia. Go to Auntie Nen and Uncle Bub. And so, we were only here maybe a month or so, and we went to our first Te Wakahuia practice. And another memory of this, as I'm talking, the first practice Mum had was we were out at a recording studio with Crowded House.
Wow.
And Te Wakahuia was providing backup vocals for one of Crowded House's waiata, Together Alone. Aneira, maua e piritai nei, e noho tahi nei, ko maua ana ke. And so that was our first practice, being part of the whānau. And Mum then got into the fold, and we became part of the Te Wakahuia whānau. And so life doing Kapa Haka carried on.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think for Mum it was a way to kind of still bring some normality to what we knew as tamariki. And the weekends, what do? We go to Kapa Haka.
Aye.
Yeah, we come home and we become part of the Te Wakahuia whānau.
Tell us about that, because when I was growing up, Wakahuia were like the All Blacks, those whakaeke, that singing.
Aye.
But growing up being around those people must have been amazing.
Yeah, and again, it's not until you grow up and you realise,
oh, look you.
You look back and you think, oh man, I got exposed to, some of the greatest people in Te Ao Haka. And at the time, you're just there. Hey, you're learning the waiata, you're learning... I'm laughing because kia mohio mai koe he tangata poi ahau.
Aye.
So, koia tetahi waku tino mahi.
Aye.
Love doing the poi, and ever since I was young, the poi has been my kind of hoa haere roto tēnei ao. And so I can remember Auntie Nen telling me, hey, you need to learn the poi so you can teach your mum at home. And because... me pono ngā kōrero, some people can poi and some people have to work hard to poi. And I think my mother had to work hard to poi.
Yes.
And so...
Well, my buddy
and so, I would, you'd learn the words, learn the actions, learn the poi, and then you'd be helping whoever you can. Yes. Some of the other memories, I can remember when they said, okay, we're going to do this whakaeke, and it was the Lion King whakaeke. And, it was pretty amazing when they kind of was teaching it. We were at Te Ngira, right out at Papakura Marae. And I can remember they got the kids up before they taught it to the adults to work out the choreography. Okay, now crisscross and so I can remember crisscrossing, You know, there was Taru, there was Tuirina, Marcia, me. Oh, there's a whole bunch of us, actually.
And I suppose kids, they learn by osmosis. So they're just there. Ara te mea kai te ata tohu o e noho rana ki te ako. But what are some of the things you saw or that you picked up over that time? Hei whakakito kete, now that you're a tutor, now that you're a performer, these are some of the things that you've carried into your pakeketanga doing Kapa Haka.
Yeah, one of the things that we kind of lean back on is all the sayings Uncle Bub would do, and then watch how he used to do things. Like there's one practice that he used to say, you know, you need to give up something so that you can get something. You know, and so that was about committing to a kaupapa.
Right.
So whether it be, you know, no fizzy drinks or whatever, you know, I'll do this kaupapa as a way to kind of make way for the blessings, so to speak, that you get as a kaihaka. But one other thing that he used to do was, and I'm going to give away 5 things because I know 5 of you won't give anything. And, and you kind of, that causes you to kind of think about, you might be the tutor, but you have a responsibility to actually, you know, yes, challenge people, but also take on other kind of commitments and stuff for your kapa, because you become responsible for more than just yourself.
As I remember your mum saying it, that's what he used to do. You know, I'm going for a walk and I'll walk for you.
Yeah.
I know some of you would get up and walk with me, but e mohi o tāua tēnei tūranga tūranga kai ako te kapa. E hai te mea, ko koe te rangatira, ko koe te tono.
Koia, kano hei mōkai.
Mōkai
E te time, you know, you think, oh man, it must be nice to just drive out the gates, hey? You know, and here we are picking up the rubbish, the water bottles that have left, you know, they haven't quite finished off the sweeping, you know, that kind of stuff, and you think, oh, ka pai, you have a lovely weekend, you know. But, you know, yeah. You kind of have to giggle about it, otherwise you'll cry about it.
That's right. Be there, done that. We've moved on.
Yeah, but koia, that's a part and parcel of being a tutor and looking after more than yourself.
Yes, and at the end of the day, there is fulfillment in service.
Yeah.
You know, you do get a lot from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you feel, am I getting as much as everyone else?
And I'm sure you have the same conversations with your father. I'm like, you know, sometimes I just wish I was a member. No, I could just a kaiaka to come in, learn myself, and then go home. But hono.
Aye.
Yeah.
Ka tai ki te wā. I suppose ka hia tō whaia ki te hoki.
Aye.
Ki tōna ke hapu, ki tōna ke iwi. And again, leaving that whānau.
Yeah.
But and like we are, you'll always be whānau, but and then returning home. Talk about that journey.
Yeah, so 2000 was her last stand with Te Wakahuia and Ngārua Wāhia. And we went to the debrief practice after the Nationals. And I can remember we were at Ngātaringa over there on the North Shore. And we're driving out the driveway and Mum goes, well, I think that was my last practice there. We're going to go home. Marcy and I'm thinking, what? We've just become 14? Like, now we can actually be in the lines? You know, like that, as an adult. And we're leaving. What? So, yeah, that happens. And at that time, Mum... we had already moved back to Whangarei, so we were in Tāmaki for a little while, then Mum moved us back to Whangarei. And Mum was coming down every weekend for practice. Back in the days where there was no motorway, you know, you know, it was a 2.5, nearly 3 hour trip, you know, but she was koira tana aroha nui ki te kaupapa. And so we go home and decide that Mum wants to, and my brother and our cousins decide that let's start our own rōpū. Based at our home marae at 𝙃𝘼𝙆𝘼 in Whangare. Awesome. And so Hātea is established. It's 2000 and we go home. Yeah.
The joys of starting a new group. E pēhea tērā te tō mai te whānau. Was it, obviously it's never easy, but
No.
what are the challenges? And I suppose the payoffs.
Yeah. Well, as with any new thing, the enthusiasm at the beginning is electric. And so you have people, yes, ka pai, and we're like, oh man, look at all the people here. And then ka tīmata ngā mahi. And then you realise, that's where the challenge starts, ne?
Right.
And we started off, and harei te mea he iwi haka tā mātou iwi o te marae. And so we were starting off as green. You know, people didn't even know that there was a regional or a national competition. My mind was blown. Like, what do you mean? That's life, you know? What else do you do? You know, I just couldn't comprehend that you don't know that there's a national team. And so we establish our rōpū, and we go to our first regionals in 2001 in Whangare. And back in those days, the regionals, it was held at Forum North, and it can hold 600 people max. You know, and that was the Taitokerau regionals back then, you know. And you think, 600, gosh, you know. So we go and perform, and we come second.
Wow.
And become one of two teams that qualified to go to Takaparawa in 2002. And the lead up to our first nationals was, let's say, somewhat explosive. You know, you're learning how to kind of put ideas forward without, you know, takahing on someone else's ideas, and you know, the egos in the room, and learning the dynamics of what
still
it is.
learning.
Yeah, still learning. Yeah, the whanaungatanga dynamic really gets tested,
Yes,
because everyone's got the brightest idea, and my idea is better than your idea, and you need to keep in your lane, and you know, that kind of stuff. And so I think our kind of process went through a teething period. There were some slammed doors, and you know, some walking out, but we pull a team together, and we go to Takaparawa, and stand for the first time. Quite nervous, we were a green team, and you know, we were part of the teams that people are looking on this program like, oh, ko Otene, you know. I can remember sitting in the crowd, and we were watching Te Wakahuia, and one of the members goes, gee, are they good? You know, and that's how green our team was. But innocent, innocent. Yes, I said, no, they're pretty good. Same with, just watching the finals. And so how do you actually get to the finals? I was like, you be good, that's how. And yeah, so we go on, and awesome. We at the beginning we had people writing for us, you know. Some of it was my mum's quite a poet, so she would write poems and then send them to a translator. Back in those days, you know, to translate those kupu into te reo Māori, and then we'd put a tune to it, you know. And so we start exploring what it means to compose and create, and put ideas in, and those, for every good idea, there's 100 ideas that you've gone through.
Yes.
And the developmental kind of art of composing, choreographing, you start to learn how to hone those skills.
Yes. Take us through your process, your composing process.
Yeah. If you were to ask my team, I'm the very expressive person, I want them to feel the wairua, and then as Kapa Haka, present that wairua on stage. And so my kind of process is that, if a kaupapa comes past me and I'm affected by it, how do I kind of create a waiata or a composition that captures what I'm feeling?
Yes.
And so there's been a few examples. Waiora was one of them. Where John Keys says no one owns the water. And I'm thinking, well, ka hore, we own the water where we come from. That's ours. We've got a relationship with that water. It comes from the puna up behind our marae, comes down the awa into Hātea, that kind of stuff. And so our relationship with that piece of water has been made anō. So you can't tell me that no one owns the water. You definitely don't own the water. We do. And so ka puta mai te awa waiata, waiora, is a way to kind of express what our relationship to that, what our relationship is to that particular piece of water. And that it's a taonga, it's something that cleanses us, it's something that sustains us, it's something that was there in our tupuna's day and will be there in our mokopuna's day. So it's a constant thread. It's a thread between generations to generations. And so I took that idea and put some words, describing words to it, and then took it to my brother and said, hey, I want this to sound like water. I'm like you. I'm actually, I can sing, but I can't play the guitar to save myself. It's always one of those kind of things when you go to a party, and then people go, oh, Otene's here, and they hand you a guitar, and I'm like, I don't know why you're handing it to me, because I'm not the guitar player. I've got 100 other cousins that play the guitar. My job is just to waiata, and I'll sing all night for you. So my brother's the one that does the and then my sister will be the one that kind of whakaawe, how to kind of bring it out of, bring some more life to it. And so that's a process. I think about some of the other waiata. It's about a kaupapa that kind of grabs my attention, and then what am I feeling, and then how do I portray that feeling through the waiata to the kaimātakitaki and the kaiwhakarongo.
Koera te taumata o ngā mai, if you can affect that person, mena ko te whakatangi I te rā tangata, te whakangahau I te rā tangata. That's your job as a performer, and to see your composition come to life is another level.
It's magic.
It is.
It's poetry in motion.
Especially when it hits like waiora.
Yeah. And it's still, I'm still amazed, especially with that waiata. I think when we sing it and I look out into the crowd and everyone else is singing and think, if nothing else, it's kind of hit the ngākau where we wanted it to hit, and become a waiata that's known.
Because I feel that our generation, and I don't know if it's because of matatene, because there are so many competitions are here, one matatene gone the next, and waiata like waiora, that can stand the test of time, and that people love because it affects them. Is what you want as a composer. You want your song to be sung by as many people.
As many people as possible.
Like Wakahuia.
Yeah,
the classics that have lasted years and years and years. ngoi, all of those composers that have affected people that they love it and they want to sing it and teach it to other people.
Well, that's the awesome thing about Kapa Haka, though, eh? It's a vehicle in which to kind of affect people, give it, and, you know, influence thinking, influence kind of people to pause and think about a kaupapa. I look at it as a, you know, if I think about our iwi up in 𝙃𝘼𝙁𝙆, we're protesting iwi. And I remember ngā huia harawira coming to me and goes, "You're never at the hikois, or you're never, you know, doing that." And I challenged him and I said, "Well, that's because my protest is on the stage." You know, and that's, and I, you know, the waiata that we kind of produce are our thoughts and our opinions being put forward to people to listen to, you know, and to kind of, you know, challenge thinking and give an opinion that perhaps hasn't been heard. And she came back to me, she goes, "Oh yeah, fair enough."
He maha ngā mata o te mana Māori motuhake.
Tika!
E tini ngā huarahi. And yeah, I think Kapa Haka is an amazing vehicle. Ki te whakaawi te tangata, ki te whakaoreore, te iwi, ki tētahi kaupapa. And like how we see ngā kaupapa kei mui te aroaro I Nāia nei tonu. Ngā mai nana kia a te kāwanatanga hou ki a tātou, te ako Māori. What is our response, do you think? What should te ao haka's response be at this time?
To be honest, I'm looking forward to hearing what people have to say, you know, and bring their own kind of twist to it, whether it be a 𝙃𝘼𝙁𝙆 kind of opinion, whether it be a tairāwhiti opinion to this kaupapa, because I'm confident that there will be countless compositions about this new government. I'm just thinking, kāroha hoki, don't come at us too hard from Te 𝙃𝘼𝙁𝙆 just because Winston, David and Uncle Shane are from us. You know, he whanaunga, aroha nui ana ki waku uncles, but you know, kāroha mai. But, you know, I think our response as kaihaka is to actually put thought to paper and actually propagate what it is to be mana Māori motuhake, and it's certainly not what the government's doing at the moment.
For myself, if I reflect on our generation being the lucky generation, you know, ko tāua ngā uri o te mana Māori motuhake, kura kaupapa Māori, kohanga reo, whare kura, all of these kaupapa, Māori kaupapa, you know, that we have a responsibility to carry on. You know, I don't necessarily think we need to ask permission from the government. They don't hold our mana motuhake. I think it's ko tā tātou is to create the future we want.
Absolutely. And koira te mea tāhua o te mai Kapa Haka. It's a way to kind of get an idea over, and people can't help but be affected by it. And, you know, sometimes they don't realise what they're singing, and then and then they sit down and think, "Oh shoot, this is what I'm saying." And too late. You've already it's already been ingrained into your heart and into your mind. It's an awesome vehicle to do that.
Tika rawa. Kia huri tāu ki tei o mahara, o tino mahara, mo tētai o tino tū, ki te matatene. What have been some of the performances or some of those memories of a matatene performance that you go, wow, yeah, that was amazing?
Yeah, there's a few, but I think for personally, it was. For me, one of the highlights was this last matatene and actually running out with a musket. You know, personifying our tupuna hongihika and the mahi that he kind of did, just to highlight the kōrero of Ngāpuhi and our relationship to our relations here in Ngāti Whātua and that kind of stuff. But running out with a musket and almost seeing the fear of every other iwi, like, oh gosh, Ngāpuhi's here with their muskets again. You know,
Trauma.
It's generational trauma.
Generational trauma.
I laugh because I said to Mum, I want one that kind of shoots blanks. And Mum's like, oh, no, I think that'd just be a step too far. So we had to kind of wheel it back. But I think kāri tuatu te tūtahi me te whānau. Yeah, we had my mum, us, and our nephews and nieces, you know, that 3 generations all in, you know, standing together, you know, and kāre tuatu. There's something about that, you know, doing an activity all together that we all love or that we were made to love, however you want to kind of rectify that. But yeah, it's a unreal feeling. You know, it's a source of pride. It's no matter what, you know, we've got us. You know, this is us, and being able to do that with your own is kāri tuatu.
Ke kōrero tau mo tō aroha, ngā mahi poi.
Oh, okay.
Tell us what about poi that you love, and what makes an amazing poi. Ki o whakaaro.
Yeah. I don't know where the love came from. I just picked it up as a child and then kind of kept at it. And my sister hara ia te mai, te waine poi. In fact, it was just hard work. She's like, oh. But I think for me it was, you know, creating moves, the beats of it, and it's something different, eh? It's something different, and so I think you know, I like seeing the rotations and the dynamics of the poi, creating fireworks and that kind of stuff. Aroha nui anau ki ngā poi ka puta mai I te arawa, you know.
Degree of difficulty.
You know, and having all the rotations and uniformity, you know, those are all, they're just, yes, keep going. And then there's the whole kind of movement of the body and being able to choreograph to create pictures.
Yes.
You know, those are quite a something else to be able to use both sides of your brain. You know, and so I think I do it just to kind of keep up. You know, keep the left hand, left brain, right brain working. That's quite a. And
when you're teaching poi, what are you looking for? What are you telling a woman? Hey, me pēnei.
Yeah.
This is what I want. When this is what you should be thinking about.
Yeah. So, te tua te wahine he mea tāhua.
Aye.
You know, so kia kaua e tū tāne mai. Whakaatu hia mai te tāhua o te tinana katoa, hey. One of my big things is if it's only one rotation. Uniformity of the poi is important because yes, you are an important performer, but you're one of 20 and your poi needs to be going the same way as the 20 other pois, you know, at the time. So uniformity and just poise and grace. One of the big kōrero to our rōpū is, and what do we say? We love our poi. And so love your poi. And I always say, if your poi looks hakatere, like, you know, they're quite old or the plastic's not quite there, then you're going to poi hakatere just like that. You know, so have nice poi. do yourself a favour and actually get the proper equipment to do the damage.
Yes.
Really. But yeah, that's been the first kind of poi I fell in love with was kōkiriata.
Classic.
Yeah, classic. And just the movement of the kuruta from side to side and the swapping of rows, the interaction with each other, that was magic. And then the tune to it, it's awesome.
It was like a perfect storm of performers, waiata, and the visualization of that waiata.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why, kei te oro tonu, kei te poi tonu, kei te waiata tia tonu, e te tangata, because it's one of those classics that affected people.
Yeah.
Because visually, the poi is probably one of the only items that you see that you can play around with.
Yes.
There's so many elements to it.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a poi person, but I do love uniformity. I do love the creating a picture visually. As an artist, you want the words to marry with the, mena kei te kōrero mo te ika, me whakaika I tō poi.
Kia ora.
Yeah. So when you are composing, do you do the actions as well?
I do.
Yes.
I do.
For waiataringa and poi?
For waiataringa and poi, and I'll have my sister there to kind of, she's the yay, nay, nah.
Too hard.
I
won't get that.
If that's the answer, I'll go, no, we're doing it just because. But yeah, I get to.
And you have that vision.
Yeah.
When you're composing.
Yeah. When I have that. Yeah. That I kind of know. This is the picture I'm wanting to see. How do we do that? And then there's also the intricacies of how to. I don't want to say hide people that perhaps may be struggling a little bit, but make sure that they are still part of the picture, because that's all part of Kapa Haka too, eh?
Working with everyone's skill level, eh? In a perfect world, everyone would be the same, but Kapa Haka is something that's so inclusive that you have to work with everyone.
You have to work.
And that challenge is a good challenge.
All the time. And sometimes you just wish that you give the action once and they can get it. And you're like, I have to do it again and again. But that's Kapa Haka, eh?
Aye.
You're not going to wake up tomorrow and be the best Kapa Haka person unless you've practiced.
No. And we in Ngāti talk a lot about attitude. You can have all the skills in the world. If you've got the right attitude, because attitude is like skill and attitude. Skill is what you are capable of. Attitude is what you're actually going to do.
Tika.
Pēa tō whakahau, whakaawe, whakatena I tō kapa I a koutou e whakahara tau wana. Because you've got to keep them
motivated.
Yes.
You've got to keep them motivated.
For months.
For months. Yes, this is what you want to do. And yes, we've been practicing for 7 hours today, but we are going to do it again. Sometimes, I don't want to say, sometimes threats are a good thing, Or come on, we can do this. Let's one of the big kōrero, one hitter quitter. Let's just do it once.
I'm not really gonna do it.
I already know. But come on, and so you kind of learn when and how.
Yes.
To talk to your rōpū, and that's important because there's 40 people that you're trying to manage, on top of them managing their own lives. And that's another huge part of Kapa Haka, is the activity of Kapa Haka is awesome, and the performance Kapa Haka is awesome, but the pastoral care of your members is as important, because your Kapa Haka is nothing without the people. And so, people are going through things. You've got to be aware of that.
That's right.
How do you best support those people? Because you want them to keep coming.
Yeah.
You know, and so all of those dynamics are considered. Yeah, and things like, you know, bringing all your tamariki to practice, although, you know, it's something else when you're trying to do the whakaeke and there's a scooter going through the lines. But you put up with that because, well, one, kei tāko te tamaiti,
Tigarawa.
you know, that they're learning.
Yeah.
But two, it's so that the parents can just feel comfortable doing what they need to do and what they want to do. Doing Kapa Haka. And so, yeah, that's another whole world.
Yes.
That you're looking after 100 other people and their well-being, because you have to.
How do you manage, how do you use, I suppose manage being whakataitai and kaupapa?
Yeah.
You know, haere whakakanohi whakakanohi te ropu ki ngā kaupapa Māori and whakataitai, because not all kaihaka
Yeah.
are there for all of that, I suppose.
So another saying is that, you know, hātea is bigger than te matatini, you know, the kaupapa. It's kaupapa is about the iwi, really, and the mahi o te marae. And so for us, we go to Waitangi every year to whakangahau, to do what we do. Because, and I'm sure you've heard my mum say, you know, you have no business going anywhere else if you can't perform for your own people. Tika. And so we're a taitokerau group. Waitangi is a taitokerau kaupapa. We go to Waitangi every year. And yeah, it's like sport. Hey, Kapa Haka is like sport in that fact that the commitment of training and then actually producing, but then there's a whole nother tikanga aspect. Hey, with Kapa Haka. E tutuki ai e nā honotanga ki waenga ngā whānau, ngā iwi, ngā marae o te kāinga. And so he mai nui tēnā.
He mai nui. Oi, me whakatinana i ngā waiata, i ngā haka.
Yeah. We can sing about it and haka about it. Well, you better do it.
You better do it. He pērā me te pātere ai mātou, te kōrero Māori ki a tātou tamariki. And e hai te mea kei te kōrero mātou ki e tahia, kei te kōrero mātou ki a mātou.
Kia ora.
Hey, e kōrero mātou ki a mātou. E whakaoho ana i ngā raukura, kua waimari e ki te reo.
Kia ora.
Tuku te reo ki ngā tamariki.
Ai.
So, walk the talk, and if you got the name of your marae,
yes,
is your name, you ko koe te kanohi.
Ai, tika.
Yeah, ko koe te kanohi. So, engari he uaua.
He uaua. And there's also, like, you know, and e pai ana, he pai te uaua.
Ai.
He pai te uaua. But there's also times, you know, and we've learnt this over the years, that it's also okay to take some time for yourself. Like,
yes.
And in order for us to give, there has to be time where you feed yourself.
Otherwise you got nothing to give.
Yeah, that's right.
And he te karawa tērā, te kimi tērā kauhanga nui, balancing your own life and being responsible for a kapa.
Yeah.
Is an ongoing. It's a journey.
Ka kore e nā mahi e oti.
Kore ne. Ka kōrero tāwai nai nei. Mga kaupapa, kei mui te aroaro o ngā mahi Kapa Haka ki te taitoke rau. Hea ki a koe ngā kaupapa nui kei mui te aroa.
Yeah, so he te pau ngā mai he ka tū ngā whakataitai arohe. So, yeah, we're really excited about the regionals because the last nationals we didn't get to have the regionals because of COVID, and so it'll be nearly 5 years since we last had a regional competition.
What are aspirations for taitokerau Kapa Haka? As a rohe?
Yes. Ka haere tonu e nei mahi.
Aye.
We have a responsibility as people from te taitokerau who have been fortunate enough to live in this world. How do we propagate this with our other whanaunga? You know, kia kaua e noho tapu e nei mahi kia mātou nahe, engari me tuku ki te katoa. And so it's about growth, eh?
Yeah.
It is about our next generation. You know, what's the rautaki to kind of bring them into the fold, you know, and because they have ideas too, and they have talents that I don't want to admit, you know, far kind of exceed our talents, you know, which is awesome, because that's what we're hoping for. So, as you and me and this generation, what are we doing to bring them into the fold? And so I hope in the next kind of few years we start to see the next generation actually taking the reins and you know, leading out, doing this May.
Awesome, bro. Really karawai nei kōrero.
Tēnā koe.
Hei pātai whakamutunga. Tēnā kōrero mai mo o tūmanako mo te ao Kapa Haka. And kehia te ana mata, kehia tātou hāre ana. Ao haka nei.
Tēnei mea te mahi Kapa Haka, he tūā papa pai, e ora ai te tangata I tēnei ao.
Te karawa.
So one of the big things is I want people to experience the things I experience, you know, because it's been a mean life doing Kapa Haka, doing hakas, you know, growing up, going to things, performing at places, going around the world, you know, doing Kapa Haka. I was with Ngāti Rānana and going around the world up in Europe, sharing our culture, but having that pride in doing so. And so the dream is that as people kind of come into the haka lifestyle, that they get to experience the same experience, if not better experiences that I've had, that have set the foundations for who I am as a person. That have opened doors to opportunities that I wouldn't have even imagined can happen, because those seeds that have been given, you know, and given to me and then watered by all these different experiences has given me a life that, you know, can't write about it. It's an awesome ride, and I hope that it lasts. You know, long may it last, because this is a cool activity. This is a cool kaupapa. This is it makes you want to get up every day and be a haka person.
Kei te whanaunga, kei te hoa, e mihi nui ana. Te ngākau I ēnei kōrero, tēnei wānanga, o tāua e tēnei rā, kai tuatu I te mihi. Ko wai marie, ka wai marie te hunga ka whakarongo ki o kōrero, ka ki tēnei kōrero. Hei taonga, mā ngā rea ngai whai ake I a tāua. Tēnā koe, tēnā tātou ka nui te aroha.
Tēnā koe tēnei tono. Hoi no tēnā koe te kai whakarongo. Tēnei kaupapa mihara rawātu. E whakaputa nei I te ora o ēnei mahi, te mahi haka. Ki te ao, e mi kaua tonu.